Okay, here we are again. You may have wondered what I've been for the past several months, actually. And it's been a very interesting time in a Chinese sense of the word. I had a brain aneurysm, and I ended up in ICU for 2 weeks, which was boring as heck. All I could do was sleep and think. But I have recently been signed off by the last of my home visiting therapists, so I'm here again, and I'm going to give you more information, hopefully. Um, One of the interesting things about only having all that time to sleep and think is that I came to a whole bunch of realizations. One of the first things I realized, well, actually, no, it was after I left ICU, so I guess it was one of the last things I realized, was just how dangerous what happened to me was. I did not realize that. I have a cousin who's a retired doctor, and she had mentioned to my mother that it was a miracle that I was still alive, and I thought, how sweet of her to say something so nice to my mother to make her feel better. And then, right before I was supposed to leave ICU, my doctor came and talked to me, and I found out no, she was not, my cousin was not exaggerating in the least. Um, my doctor gave us the actual percentages on survival rates of what happened to me, that particular brain aneurysm. And he started out by saying 50% of the people that this happens to just die. They don't make it to the hospital. And it went downhill from there. Apparently, the actual percentage rates of survival with your physical and your mental capacities intact is like 10 to 12%. So yeah, I feel kind of miraculous that I'm still here, and also very glad. So, and honestly, I think I can attribute my successful recovery to two things very, very directly. The first one is my sweetie. It took him less than a minute to check me over, realize there was nobody home behind my eyes, according to him, and to turn to our housemate and to say, dial 911. Apparently, when it comes to things like strokes and brain aneurysms, time is of the essence, and it was a really big deal that he was so fast. And I think the second thing that made sure that I survived is that the state of California has not forgotten that it needs to take care of its people. Um, and I know that in this particular regime, that kind of healthcare for all is considered a terrible thing or communistic or weird shit like that. But I feel very strongly that healthcare for all is indeed a human right. And one of the main reasons that I feel that way is I feel very strongly that when a doctor meets with the terrified relative of the person who's had the medical issue, neither of them should ever, ever have to face the question, okay, your relative is doing all right now, but is going to need a whole lot more work, and it's going to get expensive at this point. So, how important is she to you? I'm sorry, nobody should have to face that, ever, or have to say it, and I feel very strongly about that. I guess what it boils down to for me is that I feel we should have more options. More than just, for example, insurance doesn't pay for the requisite medical procedures that we need, or worse, we can't afford to pay for insurance. And so, in order to save our relative, we're going to have to take on soul-crushing medical debt for the rest of our lives that we're never going to be able to get out from under because it'll be so huge. And on the other hand, to simply say, well, I guess we just gotta let our relative die, and I don't think that's right. There's also the fact that being stuck for 2 weeks, lying in a bed, gives you lots and lots of time to think. And one of the things that I remember thinking about is that the brain aneurysm was supposed to have occurred because I was under pressure. I was stressed, and I wasn't taking good enough care of myself. Um, it's like one of those things where you think, okay, I'm going to do this thing for me. Oh, wait, I have something else that's more important. And so you always do that, and you end up never doing the things that help you relax or help you feel creative or help you just feel better about yourself. For me, it's creativity. I'm sure it's different things for different folks. And one of the thoughts that I came up with while I was in ICU, stuck in ICU, was basically what I call my put your mask on first thought. If anyone has been in an airplane, one of the first things that happens before you even take off usually is that one of the stewardesses will show you the procedures in case there's an emergency, you know, like where the exits are and how to buckle your seatbelt and what to happen if we land over water, that kind of thing. And of course, one of the important ones is how to handle the masks. You know, they're the little masks on the cord, and they're just little buckets with a stretchy cord around them, and you're supposed to put them over your mouth and nose and pull the cord behind your head. And one of the things they always say is, mothers, make sure you put yours on before you try to help your children. And when you stop and think about it, this makes perfect logical sense. If you pass out and you have small children, your small children are not going to be able to put a mask on you, even if they have their mask on because you let yourself pass out while you were taking care of them. And so putting your own mask on first means that you can take care of other people better. And this is interesting to me because I think as women we're taught to always put ourselves second or fifth or ninth or whatever, depending how many kids you have, I don't know. And always take care of other stuff first before you take care of yourself. And frankly, I think we need to stop doing that. I think we need to realize that even if we want to take care of everybody, we're going to do a better job at that if we take care of ourselves first. I think we need to be, in effect, a little bit selfish, and we'll do a better job. I also think it's really interesting that they never have to tell men this. Frankly, I think we would do better if women were a little more selfish and if men were taught that nurturing and being nurturing was a good thing rather than something feminine that, you know, men have to avoid or they won't be masculine enough or something ridiculous like that. So that was one of the little revelations I had. I'm trying to make sure I do stuff for myself more. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me. Smack that subscription button and then please like and share. Drop me a request in the comments if you want more on this subject. And if you enjoyed my sharing my learnings with you, check out my Patreon. It's listed in the description below. You can find out more about my paintings there too. Let's bring more joy and compassion into the world.